Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, we're jumping right in today because we need to confront a massive paradox, something most of us are taught to completely ignore. It's this. Why is it that the absolute hardest workers, the folks sweating it out day after day, often remain the poorest? And meanwhile, the people who seem to work significantly less are the ones scaling massive, incredible wealth. It just feels broken, right? Well, today we're going to unpack the mindset and the hidden rules of what we call the lazy billionaire to show you exactly how real wealth is actually built. We've got to immediately shatter this myth that we've all been spoon-fed since childhood. You know the one, hard work equals wealth. Think about it. A laborer working 12 grueling hours a day absolutely works hard, yet they're usually struggling to make ends meet. Meanwhile, the owner of that construction company might only take 2 or 3 meetings a day, yet they pull in millions. Is the laborer not hardworking? Of course they are. But the game isn't about hard work. The true driver of wealth is systems. The laborer is trapped in the daily grind, while the business owner has built a mechanism that literally does the work for them. Let's actually look at the math behind these two totally different lives. The ordinary formula, the one most people use, relies on work multiplied by time. If you work 12 hours, you get paid for 12 hours. You want more money? Well, you have to work more hours. But your time has a hard ceiling. You only get 24 hours in a day, period. Now, the millionaire formula completely flips this on its head. They focus on system multiplied by scalability, and their personal work is just the initial spark. A system has no limits. It runs 24/7, completely decoupling their income from the actual hours they are awake. Okay, moving to section 1, leverage and systems, or as I like to call it, the wealth engine. So, how do we actually decouple our time from our income? What are the mechanics here? The secret ingredient is leverage. Leverage simply means you stop trying to do everything yourself. Instead, you use other people's time, you use their expertise, and you use systems to multiply your output. Think about it. If you have a team of 10 people working for you, your standard 24-hour day effectively becomes 240 hours of output. You're making a massive shift from executing manual labor to orchestrating the big picture outcome. There's this great story about Henry Ford. He was actually mocked once for not knowing all the tiny technical details of his business. You know what he did? He laughed. He pointed out that his desk was full of buttons, and pressing any one of those buttons would summon an expert who could give him the exact answer he needed. True leaders don't get bogged down trying to become a walking encyclopedia. They buy specialized knowledge and they manage the system. And honestly, you see this everywhere once you know what to look for. Take McDonald's. It's a global empire, not because the owner is flipping burgers, but because they created a standardized process that works exactly the same way no matter where you are in the world. Or look at today's digital creators. A creator puts in a few hours of heavy lifting to make a video, but that system, the video itself, stays online, it racks up views and generates income while they are literally sleeping or traveling or just hanging out with their family. All right, section 2. The true power of networking, because truly your net worth is your network. Look, you can't build a massive system completely alone. In the business world, you've essentially got 2 types of people. You have the doers who try to manually execute every single task themselves, and you have the connectors. Connectors are the folks who link you up with powerful resources, mentors, and massive opportunities. Millionaires invest heavily in finding and building relationships with these connectors. Why? Because while a doer might help you finish a task today, one single connector can introduce you to a network that changes the entire trajectory of your life. So the crucial thing here is knowing how the wealthy actually network. They don't just walk up and ask for favors. They always offer value first. And they aren't looking for some quick, cheap transaction. They play the 5 to 10 year long game because they know patience pays off massively. And here's a wild, fascinating tactic. They use silence as a weapon. Seriously, in negotiations, if they get asked a question, they might just pause, say nothing for 5 seconds. That silence makes the other side so uncomfortable that they usually end up revealing their hand or their weaknesses. Oh, and ultimately, every deal has to be a win-win, or they just walk away. Which brings us to section 3, the mindset of wealth. Focus, fearlessness, and abundance. Okay, so we understand the external engines now, leverage and networking, but we really have to look inward at our own operating system. There's this famous story where Warren Buffett and Bill Gates were both asked to write down the single most important factor behind their massive success. Without even talking to each other, they both wrote down the exact same word, focus. In a world completely obsessed with multitasking, the wealthy treat focus as an absolute superpower. But to maintain that level of focus, you have to relentlessly protect your energy. Imagine you wake up every single day with exactly 100 units of energy. Just think about a normal day. It is so incredibly easy to let what we call energy vampires, toxic people, mindless scrolling, workplace gossip, negative environments, just drain those units until you are completely exhausted with absolutely nothing to show for it. The lazy billionaire ruthlessly cuts those vampires out. They take their 100 units and pour them into just 3 or 4 high-impact tasks. Doing less, but doing what actually matters, will always beat scattered multitasking. Another really huge pillar of this mindset is moving away from scarcity and stepping into absolute abundance. I love this example. Think about a young, broke, struggling actor named Jim Carrey. Long before he was famous, he actually wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered. He kept it in his wallet, and he visualized that success every single day. Years later, what happened? He earned exactly $10 million for a movie role. The takeaway here, wealth has to be programmed into your mind way before it ever reaches your bank account. Let's dive into Section 4, Multiple Incomes and Automation. This is all about building your financial shield. Right, so your systems are running, your network is solid, your mind is dialed in. But you've got to protect what you're building. The wealthy never, ever rely on just a single source of income. Average folks usually rely entirely on active income, their day job or maybe freelancing, which requires incredibly high effort and constant time. If you stop working, the money stops. Boom. Millionaires, though, they use a rule called one becomes many. They take the cash from that high-effort active income and they buy or build passive income machines. Think real estate, dividend stocks, or digital royalties. Over time, those passive systems do the heavy lifting for them 24/7. And they architect this wealth carefully to make sure they never go bankrupt. They use the 70-20-10 investment rule. They stash 70% of their wealth into safe, stable assets like property or bonds. Then 20% goes into growth assets, stocks, expanding a business. And only 10% goes into high-risk, high-reward plays like crypto or angel investing in startups. This is brilliant because it means even if those high-risk ventures completely crash and burn, their financial shield holds strong. And hey, speaking of crashing and burning, let's talk about failure. The wealthy don't fear it. They process it through a very specific mental toughness formula. Step 1, accept it without ego. Step 2, extract the data, because failure is literally just feedback. Step 3, execute better next time. When Elon Musk launched SpaceX, he didn't blindly assume success. He actually asked, what is the worst that can happen? He knew that even if a rocket failed, the data he gained would be incredibly valuable. Just like Edison learning thousands of ways not to make a light bulb, the wealthy view failure as just another stepping stone. Bringing us to our final part, Section 5, Habits of a Lazy Millionaire. Mastering time freedom. We've talked a ton about money, but listen, the ultimate goal isn't just swimming in a vault of cash. It's achieving absolute control over your time. Richard Branson has famously said that his business is not about money, it's about time freedom. And you get there through daily habits that automate your success. You wake up intentionally, no chaotic reactive mornings. You block out 2 to 3 hours of intense, completely uninterrupted deep work. You live by the 80-20 rule, knowing that 20% of your effort is giving you 80% of your results. You ruthlessly delegate or automate everything else. And please, prioritize your health and get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Because if your mind is foggy, this whole system collapses. So if you want to actually start making this shift today, here is your 5-step action plan. Number 1, dedicate just 30 minutes a day to learning. Read a book, listen to an explainer like this, absorb something new. 2, learn a high-leverage skill. Tech, finance, sales, something scalable. 3, start building your own automated system, no matter how tiny it is at first. Just make something that earns while you sleep. 4, control your lifestyle. The wealthy do not waste capital buying flashy things to impress people they don't even like. And 5, prioritize your physical and mental health above everything else. What? Just knowing this stuff won't change your life. Execution will. You now understand the mechanics of leverage, the power of your network, why focus is everything, and the math behind passive income. So the final question I want to leave you with today is this. Tomorrow morning, are you going to wake up and continue selling your limited time to fuel someone else's system, or are you going to start building your limitless system today? The choice is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.